damn. I know it's been a while since my last video. I've been busy with college and other things that required my time. But I have seen a few movies lately, and I have now found some free time to talk about them. This was one of them. There's also R.I.P.D., Pacific Rim, and Gravity that I want to talk about, as well as some trailers, because I don't think I've made a trailer video in a long time. Anyway, I'm here to talk about 12 Years a Slave. Now, this movie, I think has probably gotten the most Oscar buzz since Gravity. And it's well deserved. And I'm not just saying that because it's like, oh, it'll win an award. It'll win an award. I say that because it deserves some kind of an award. It deserves some praise. It deserves so much recognition. This is the best movie I've seen all year. This is a truly amazing movie. And this happened. So 12 Years a Slave tells the true story of Solomon Northup, who was a black man in the 1840s, a free man, who was kidnapped and sold into slavery. Spent 12 years as a slave, as the title says. And what I really love about this movie is that a lot of other movies that involve slavery always put some kind of twist on it, so they don't always focus on it. Like Gone with the Wind, like they had slaves, but they also just seemed kind of happy, to be working, and they weren't treated like absolute shit. Son of the South, Uncle Remus just kind of zippity-doo-dah, zippity-day. Django Unchained, I mean, that movie did show slave brutality, but then Django came in and shot them fuckers up. This movie doesn't have that. This ain't no Django Unchained revenge fantasy. Ain't no bullshit Gone with the Wind fairy tale. It is the real thing, and that is what is so effective about this movie. I think it's like that kind of movie that you should have been shown in high school when you were learning about slavery and stuff. Like, the slaves were treated all so poorly, and they were whipped and lashed and worked long hours in the cotton fields in the hot sun. This movie shows that in spades. I think this is the kind of movie that you really should show to people to really, really show what slavery was and why it's such a taboo thing. And it hits you very hard, and it does it very effective. It hits you very hard. And there's some moments where you just kind of squirm in your seat. Like, I don't want to give it away, but the scene where Michael Fassbender's character is whipping a slave will make you squirm. It's a very brutal movie. It sort of has that Requiem for a Dream effect, where you watch it, you just feel like a shitty human being. Like, God, this is what I am. But unlike Requiem for a Dream, this is it's inspirational. It's not like Requiem where it's like depression upon depression upon depression. It's more like depression. It's more like depression that you fight through. You have to fight through it, and that's what Solomon does. Solomon is played by Chiwetel Ejiofor. Chiwetel Ejiofor. I think I'm pronouncing that right. I know he's a good actor. I've only seen him as the agent in Serenity. Yeah, the show's what I know. But this movie proves that he is a fantastic actor. Like, you see it in his eyes. See the look in his eyes, and just this like when he's feeling when he feels beat down, he's able to find so much. He's able to find hope somehow. Like this movie is not just a show showcasing the brutality of man. It's also a real great testament to the human spirit. Because this guy endures so much, and he always keeps his head up. He tries his hardest to do it. And there's a moment in the film towards the end where it's a close up on his face, and it lasts for about a minute, but you can tell that this is the moment when he feels that this is his life forever. He'll never see his family again. He'll never be free. He will never walk a free man. And it's heartbreaking. Oh man, it's hard to talk. It's sort of hard to talk about this, but you also need to talk about it. So when he sold into slavery, his first owner is Master Ford, who's played by Benedict Cumberbatch. And I'll say this is Cumberbatch's year, I think. Like, he's been busy with Star Trek, with The Fifth Estate, this, and Smaug in December. I don't know where he finds the time to be part of 4 different movies, be major parts in 4 different movies in 1 year. Like, that's incredible. Props to him. And Sherlock is coming back too. So, and he does really good too. He's one of those. He plays Ford as this. He's sort of like a more compassionate slave owner who sort of recognizes Solomon's potential, and but at the same time, he's very cowardly. Like when he has an opportunity to help Solomon, he doesn't take it. He ships him off to Edwin Epps. He's kind of like one of those characters in a slave story that you kind of want to see. Like, yeah, he's a slave owner, but he's not a vicious asshole. Well, you could make the argument like, oh, well, in terms of slave owners, like, he's not that bad. The same argument could be said, yeah, well, in terms of slave owners, he's still a fucking slave owner. And yeah, they're both right. There's some supporting actors like Paul Giamatti. He's only seen once, but he's pretty much the seller, the purveyor of workers. And yeah, he's a despicable fuck. Paul Dano's what was he? He was the head carpenter for Ford's plantation. He was really good. The thing I have I have a problem with Paul Dano is that he sometimes goes a bit too big. Like, I like his dictation. I like how his screen presence. Problem is he goes too big too often. I sort of believe there would be blood for that, even though he was really good in it. Like there's this really good scene where he's just dishing out shit to Solomon. Solomon is threatening him, and he's really good in it. Anyway, then Solomon is shipped to Edwin Epps, played by Michael Fassbender. Oh my god. Okay. This is the kind of guy who's what we think of when we think of like a slave owner. He is probably the most despicable character in the film. Probably. And Fassbender's one of my favorite actors. I think he's one of those actors who's never really had a bad performance. He's been in bad movies before. Jonah Hex sucked. Wasn't a huge fan of X-Men First Class, but I'm not talking about that now. I really think he should win Best Supporting Actor for this, because like this is a fantastic role, and he's so committed to it. Like he's so sometimes he's so violent and aggressive, and so angry, and you see it in his face. Oh man, it's so good. Like you're really afraid of this guy, and the speeches he gives, you just buy the fact that he wholeheartedly believes that these people is something that he can own and do whatever the fuck he wants with them. And he does. And yeah, he's really scary. Even when he's not yelling. Like there's this really, really tense scene when after Solomon tries to send a letter to his family. And it's in the middle of the night, and Epps takes him out, and he just talks to him, and he explains the situation, and you're just sort of sitting there like, oh god, don't do anything, please don't do anything, and it's so effective, and it's so good. But next to Fassbender, his wife, I don't know who plays her. She sort of reminds me of Cate Blanchett for some reason. I don't know who this lady is. She too might be known for a supporting actress role, but she is probably one of the most heinous, unlikable bitch cunts you have ever seen. Oh god, I don't even want to talk about her. Like, she just pisses me off so much. And I really can't spoil anything about her. Like she's very jealous. She's very hateful to like not just the slaves, but to Epps. And she just gives no shits about anything. She just like whip that black son of a bitch. And oh god, I can't talk about it anymore. Well, at least her. The way this movie's directed. It was directed by Steve McQueen, who did Shame with Michael Fassbender, and he was really good in that. I like this one more than Shame. The thing with Shame is that sometimes the long quiet shots where nothing's really happening goes on touch too long. There are some moments like that where, like again with the whole close up on Solomon's face, but again, these moments are way more effective here. Like, there's this one really tense scene where Solomon is hanging by his neck, and he has his toes in the mud, and it just holds on him, and all behind him, like everyone else, just going about their business, like not doing anything. And you're just kind of, you're really on the edge of your seat in that moment. Like you know that he's not going to die, but still, it's really suspenseful, and you don't really know what's going to happen to him. And the way it's complemented by the way it's written. The way it's written is, it was written by John Ridley. It was either John Ridley or Scott Ridley, I can't remember. There's such a poetry to it. It feels like they use a lot of older speak. Like the way they talk. It feels like sort of like like it's like a play almost. But it's really hard to describe much about. It's really hard to describe much about it. Like it's just something you have to see. You know, I think this is the best movie I've seen all year. If there's I think if it may or may not be win an Oscar or whatever, I don't care. It's a great movie. It needs to be seen by anybody. You owe it to yourself to see this movie. Whether you're a fan of movies or not, you just see it. It's a tough sit. It's a long sit too. Like it's little over 2 hours long. You sort of it feels like that, but it's such a powerful movie, and it's a very uplifting movie too. So, yeah, 12 Years a Slave. Go see it. I command you to see this movie. It's great. So, yeah. I guess next time, I'll talk about Gravity. So, later.